June 18, 2020. A hotel room on the outskirts of Munich. James Fries, a former director of the United States Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, is starting his new job as Wirecard's chief compliance officer. He's called in early. He sits alone. He opens the raw system ledgers. The ambient noise of the room hums in the background. He cross-references transaction codes and balance sheets. The numbers do not align.
There's no complex cryptographic manipulation here. There's no sophisticated accounting trick. Fries realizes within hours that it requires no special expertise to see the truth. The entire third-party acquiring division is a complete fabrication. It is, in his exact words, a crude physical vacuum. The entire division is a ghost. There are no transactions. There is no infrastructure.
The scale of what was missing was absolute. 1,900,000,000 euros. That is the exact amount missing from the Philippine escrow accounts. The bank confirmations were forged. The cash simply did not exist.
How did a 24 billion euro empire become a ghost?
Chapter 1. The Ghost Accounts.
To understand the collapse, you have to look at the very machine that allowed Wirecard to hide its worst assets and fabricate its profits. They were a massive European payment processor, but in regions where they lacked local payment processing licenses, Wirecard claimed they used third-party partners. These partners were supposed to process credit card transactions for high-risk online merchants. The supposed revenues were listed on Wirecard's balance sheet. The supposed commission earnings were recorded in trustee accounts.
The primary partner was Al Alam Solutions. Wirecard claimed Al Alam processed 350 million euros in payment transactions every single month. The physical reality was a tiny office in Dubai. They had exactly 6 staff members.
For years, this vacuum sat on the balance sheets of a blue-chip company, completely undetected by the market. Ernst & Young, the longtime auditor, eventually refused to sign off on the financials. They stated, and these are their exact words, "There are clear indications that this was an elaborate and sophisticated fraud involving multiple parties around the world in different institutions with a deliberate aim of deception." They allowed the vacuum to sit there for years before they spoke those exact words.
Why did the watchdogs not bark?
Chapter 2. The Blind Watchdogs. What we're looking at is a systemic failure of the enablers. It began with the auditors, who failed to obtain direct, independent bank confirmations for the escrow accounts. They relied entirely on screenshots and third-party confirmations. But the failure goes deeper. It goes into the state institutions meant to protect a market. Take the German Federal Financial Supervisory Authority, known as BaFin. When evidence of irregularities surfaced, BaFin didn't raid Wirecard. Instead, they actively protected the fraud. They filed criminal complaints against the journalists investigating the company. They banned short selling of Wirecard stock. The state treated the messenger as the criminal.
And the oversight bodies failed from within. The auditor oversight body in Germany is tasked with investigating firms like Ernst & Young. The head of that government agency was a man named Ralph Bose. During the investigation into the auditors, Ralph Bose was illegally trading Wirecard shares. The head of the agency investigating the fraud was personally trading the fraudulent stock.
What happened to the people who told the truth?
Chapter 3. Target the messenger.
Financial Times journalist Dan McCrum spent 6 years questioning the finances of Wirecard. For exposing the ghost accounts, he faced severe, systematic pushback. This was a highly coordinated campaign. Wirecard hired 28 private investigators. They physically monitored the Financial Times offices in London. They launched smear campaigns online accusing the journalist of market manipulation. They executed phishing attacks on his sources, on analysts, and even his wife. They deployed sensitive listening devices across the Thames. These are claustrophobic, precise tactics meant to silence reporting. Wirecard eventually filed a lawsuit. They didn't mail it to his office. They hand-delivered the lawsuit to his home address. McCrum's reaction was chilling. He said, "It was as if they were saying, 'By the way, we know where you live.'"
Who were they really dealing with?
Chapter 4. The Agent in Moscow.
Jan Marsalek was the chief operating officer of Wirecard. He oversaw the third-party acquirers. But he wasn't just a corporate executive. He was a Russian intelligence asset. In June 2020, Marsalek uses a private jet to escape to Belarus, arranged by a Russian Secret Service contact. By September 2021, he organizes a kidnapping plot in Montenegro targeting a former Russian security official. In June 2022, his network infiltrates the phones of high-ranking Austrian Interior Ministry officials. And in February 2024, his cell phone registers near the Russian-Ukrainian front line. He descends completely into the Russian intelligence apparatus.
He uses aliases to walk freely: a Russian Orthodox priest, a falsified Belgian passport under the name Alexander Schmidt, a Russian passport for Alexander Niladov. He rotates these identities to travel across Moscow and the Crimean Peninsula.
Marsalek ran a London-based spy ring. In leaked chat logs, his agents debated how to handle an investigative journalist. They considered kidnapping, they considered an axe. Read Marsalek's exact text message instructing his team better is a sledgehammer, Wagner style. The former corporate executive was discussing murder methods used by mercenary forces.
We return to the ashes of the fraud. 24 billion euros vanished. Thousands of employees lost their jobs. Pension savings disappeared overnight. This wasn't just a corporate failure. It was a theft from the public, proving that the institutions meant to protect our money are entirely fallible.
The mastermind is not in a cell. Jan Marsalek operates freely in Moscow. He lives a grounded lifestyle. He frequently visits the Federal Security Service headquarters on Lubyanka Square. He is under the protection of the FSB. The Collapse INC doesn't tell you what to feel about that.
Where is the money?